For all the coffee lovers out there, when was the last time that you added an egg in your coffee and really liked it? Yes, you heard it right, an egg, and had a delicious espresso with fluffy egg on top. Well, I'm not joking, really, it is a delicacy. And to know more about that, today in Travel Explore Celebrate Life, I have Janvi along with me. As usual, I am Sunila Patil, and Neil is out on a 2 week break. We have Janvi here from Veena World. Janvi works in the customized holidays team. She looks after the team. She designs amazing products that everybody who's looking for a holiday like the way they want it, exactly the way they want it planned. And she really enjoys doing all of that. The other reason that Janvi is here today is also because she loves to travel with her friends. And, when you're looking for a girlfriend's getaway, no other person better than Janvi to really tell you what to do and where to go and how to do it because she loves experiencing it herself. Hi, Janvi.
Hello, and a very good day to all the listeners.
Thanks, Janvi. Janvi, just like you, I love to travel as well. And I love to travel with my friends as well. And I am actually looking forward to the end of this month where after a business trip, I'm going to be in Europe and I'm so excited. And my friends are joining me from the US and we shall be out for a week. Europe is opening gradually. And yes, one by one, we can start visiting the entire world now. But Janvi, let's dive right in and let's come to our topic of today. Vietnam, the egg coffee we spoke about, Café Trong, comes from Vietnam. And a few years back, you went with your girlfriends to Vietnam. So I'm very curious, Janvi, how did you choose Vietnam as a friend's trip? I mean, honestly, isn't it too cultural for a friend's trip? Like mostly when friends go out together, you're looking for fun things to do. You're looking for spas. You're looking for party places, where the vibe is just right. So did Vietnam really fit the bill?
Well, it's quite a coincidence that we're speaking about Vietnam because that happens to be the last destination that I traveled in 2019 before the world really turned upside down for all of us. So in a way, Vietnam really, really holds the best travel memories for me. Now, when you say that, yes, Vietnam has a different perception, has a different vibe, when the whole process of trying to decide where to go started, I'll be very frank, it was nowhere on the radar. The occasion was we wanted a girls' getaway. There was a friend who was celebrating her birthday, so there was an occasion. And of course, like all girls or for solo getaways or even like just traveling with friends, things that you look forward for is a good place with good nightlife, good food. These are the common things that really. And looking at all of these factors was just trying to figure out where could we go, what could be the best place to be. So 2 points that were very important for us in that sense was we needed a nice place to celebrate the birthday. So the birthday had to be something, it just didn't have to be, just shouting or dancing at 12 a.m. We wanted it to be something different, something nice. We wanted the place to be affordable. That's a very typical millennial behavior. We work hard, but we also want to travel the world as much as we work. So we had to keep that balance. So it did not be budget, it did not be cheap, but it had to be affordable to all of us who were traveling. There had to be ease of travel. So that was ease of connecting to the place or maybe the visa procedure. So that was an aspect that was kind of clearly top priority. And because the whole group likes to eat food and experiment with different kinds of foods, the place had to give you a nice choice of food. So these were the parameters which were kind of thrown at me. And that is when I had to get the professional Janvi into the picture. And I tried for probably for the first 2 hours, all I could see was Thailand in front of me because that was the go-to place, what everybody would think of. But I really put it in a way, if I was designing this for my guests, if I'm designing. So basically with that brief in mind, I put myself into the guest's shoes as to will they like the things that I'm really putting down and really zeroed down on the destination as simply as that.
I know. And I think the professional Janvi must have made her friends really happy because like all of us who follow Janvi on Instagram, we saw that they really had a great time. Janvi, coming to Vietnam, it's on the eastern edge of mainland Southeast Asia. So if someone were to think of where it is located, it is Like you said, the neighbors are Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand is on the western side, Thailand and Myanmar, and Vietnam would be on the eastern side of mainland Asia. So if you look at the map, you'll see it right there. The other thing I notice when I look at Vietnam always, Janvi, is that it's a very long country. Like it's not spread out horizontally, but more vertically. So when we are planning an itinerary, and when you did that, how should someone do? Like what I see is, if I have to pick the three places in Vietnam that I must go to, are probably Hanoi, Halong Bay, and Ho Chi Minh City. Hanoi in the north, then you have Halong Bay and Ho Chi Minh City, and of course there is Da Nang and Sapa as well. But in a way, if I were to call it the golden triangle of Vietnam, it probably is Hanoi, Halong Bay, and Ho Chi Minh. So how should one choose that? I mean, you are the one who loves designing products. So what would you tell our viewers that, how do I choose, where should I go, and where did you go?
So like you mentioned, Vietnam is a long country, and it is quite at a distance. So somebody who really wants to explore the whole of the country, it can take up to 15 to 20 days as well. So pretty much the amount of time that you really have on your holiday will determine what places you should visit. So if you are somebody who really wants to see the best of the country, then it has to be Hanoi, Halong, and Ho Chi Minh. If you are somebody who has a little more time at hand, wants to explore something a little offbeat other than the city life, then visiting Sapa in the north for the rice terrace fields, trekking, meeting the homogeneous tribes, staying at homestays. That is something that can be clubbed with your normal city activities. Then there is Da Nang, which is very famous for the Golden Hand Bridge. So that is a popular destination. And very close to Da Nang is Hoi An. So Hoi An is a very ancient town, but I would recommend spending at least 2 nights here because it is known as the town of lanterns. The town of lanterns really comes to life in the evenings when it's like walking through one of those picturesque Instagram reels where everything is beautifully lit up. Another very important aspect of Hoi An is it used to be an important city on the silk trading route. So a lot of merchants would pass from there. So it has almost got 100-year-old tailors and people who make clothes for you. So Hoi An is one place where people throng just to get custom-made clothes for themselves.
Wow.
Something which would look as good as a Gucci or a Prada, but under $100.
That sounds reason enough to get to Vietnam, Janvi. So tell me, if I have to do Halong Bay, and for me, Vietnam really is Halong Bay. When I think of Vietnam, I think of these amazing limestone islands. The water is so beautiful out there. The bay is beautiful, rock formations, caves, and you can actually see that over the years, erosion and wind and everything has had an effect and made it into, it's like nature's art, right? It's so pretty and so beautiful. So Halong Bay for me would be the primary attraction, like it would be for many people. So how do I get there, and is that the best way to go from Hanoi, I guess? And how would you suggest to get there? What should you do there? So tell us a little bit about Halong Bay.
So basically, the best way to reach Halong Bay is from Hanoi. It's about a 3-hour drive from Hanoi. So if you're really short on time and have about a week in hand, you can do a wonderful getaway, like with friends, with just Hanoi and Halong, and feel like having seen the best of the country.
Yeah.
So the word Halong means the descendant dragon, and apparently the legend says that the bay was being attacked by invaders, and that's when people called on the dragon, and the dragon spitted fire in form of emeralds, which now are the 2,000 islands, which kind of make up the entire of Halong Bay.
That sounds so exciting. So, Janvi, what is it? I guess in Halong Bay, you have to do cruises, right? So, is overnight accommodation only on cruises? But maybe I don't have time for a week-long cruise. So, are shorter options possible?
Yeah, that's the best part about Halong Bay. You can really explore it as your time permits. So if you're short on time, you could stay at a hotel on Halong Bay and do a day cruise, which takes you around those little floating villages. And if you really, really want to spend time on board, cruises would start as a 1-nighter, a 2-nighter, and going up to 4-night cruises as well. The interesting part about Halong Bay cruises, it's not just your typical cruise where you're on board and you're just kind of exploring the scenery being on board. So the options are plenty. We halt at places, you do sea kayaking, you do kayaking, you
Wow.
exploring caves. There are short trip hikes to the cliffs around the caves. And also for somebody who wants a little more fun than just being on a normal cruise, you can book yourself a party cruise. So like we were celebrating
Wow.
a birthday and we wanted it to be different. So for the birthday night, we booked this one night party cruise. So the party cruise typically had like a slightly younger crowd. There was music playing at the night. There were sunbeds on the deck, or they had water trampolines. We would stop at a beach, play beach volleyball. So all in all, it was
Wow.
like a fun cruise experience, and not just something where you're sitting on the sun deck sipping your
That sounds like really good fun. And, just being along Halong Bay, seeing the mountains out there, uh, taking part in water sports and other things. I mean, kayaking and other stuff, it itself is fun, but to add a party cruise to that, what could be better? But I think you did Hanoi along with that as well. So what was your image of Hanoi?
Well, Hanoi is it's a city which has the epicenter of a lake. So the lake kind of really lights up the whole city at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the bustling cities that I've ever seen. Of course, coming from Mumbai, what do you really compare to a bustling city? But when I walked out of my hotel room in Hanoi and we called for a Uber because we wanted to go somewhere, and we had somebody on a motorbike Vespa who had come to pick us up. So an Uber is a scooter in Hanoi, because I think Hanoi is the only city with the maximum number of scooters in the world. So it's a completely bustling city. We prefer to stay in the old quarter, because the old quarter is where all your restaurants and all the happening nightlife and all the pubs and bars are. So we chose to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about Hanoi was every weekend, a part of the pedestrian street converts into a street bar where people just pull out plastic stools and chairs, and you're sitting there and probably drinking the cheapest beer available in the world, which is under $1. So that was
Wow.
an experience in itself.
Yeah, and Janvi, that's very interesting because you mentioned food, and I was looking at the top 20 reasons to visit Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon in the south, and I think they still like to call it Saigon as well. And the first one that comes up, of course, is food and drinks out there, and the street foods and other things out there. But before we come, and we are going to discuss of the street food as well, but before we get there, I think I remember one of the most Instagrammable photos of Vietnam in recent years has been the Golden Bridge. And the Golden Bridge, which is in the Bana Hills near Da Nang, is some 150-meter long pedestrian bridge, and it's so beautiful. And they said that it was to do with as if God is holding you up, and that is why you have the bridge that goes through these beautiful hands that are holding you up. And I think it's one of the most stunning images. But Janvi, so a lot of people also prefer to add Laos or Lao and Cambodia along with Vietnam, right? Of course, you need a long, long, long holiday for that, but that kind of works well, I think.
That works well with the air connections, because that is what we did also. So you have very good flights which can connect into Cambodia from Hanoi,
Mhm.
Ho Chi Minh. So if you really have 10 days in hand, you could do Hanoi, Halong Bay, and fly into Siem Reap, Cambodia, and do the Angkor Wat and kind of tick it off your list. Or you could do the three main cities and then fly into Siem Reap and still complete Cambodia. So you've kind of in 10 days completed two countries and ticked off maybe two UNESCO sites of your list, the Halong
Yeah.
Bay and the Angkor Wat. So that really makes this destination, in that sense, value for money, literally,
Mhm.
really value for your travel experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense as well, right? And I know all of us are really waiting to go out there. Once the word starts, we want to be out there. We want to experience everything that the word has to offer. And combining one or two countries would be great. But of course, like you mentioned, if you're short on time, even just Hanoi and Halong believe me, would be a great break. But tell me, when I look at if you're going to Google and you go to Google and you just even type in Cambodia and you have Angkor Wat showing up. So it's kind of iconic for the country, right? You look at that and you know we are talking of Cambodia. You look at the Eiffel Tower and you know you're talking of France. You look at Taj Mahal and you know you're speaking about India. What do I look at and know that this is really Vietnam? And so I did Google and I put in Vietnam. And again, I was quite happy that for, what holds true for me seems to hold true for most people, because Halong Bay is what shows up. Halong Bay is what shows up. And now the Golden Bridge also shows up, and it says that, yes, this is Vietnam. But you had a chance to visit, you've had a great holiday out there. What are these uniquely Vietnamese things? Because I think a holiday in Vietnam is so much more than just going and seeing monuments. It's more about experiences. And yes, now we come to the egg coffee as well. So we can talk about that too. And let's hear more about what is uniquely Vietnamese.
So to be very frank, Vietnam has a list of things that can really expand your to-do list twofold. But a few things that really stick and probably you can just experience in this country is definitely how you started is the egg coffee. Now that is something that nobody really talks about. We talk about filter coffee, we talk about iced Americano. So for all those who love Starbucks, you probably would not find a Starbucks here, but believe me, every corner of the street smells of amazing coffee. So they have iced coffee with condensed milk, and then they have this egg coffee. So basically it's condensed milk which is frothed with egg, and then there is this strong coffee on it, an espresso shot. So it tastes more like a coffee custard, but believe me, this is something that you can really taste here only, and unique experience that you really can't really do it anywhere else in the world. So that is one of the best things to do over here.
Yeah, and I mean, coffee production in Vietnam is, a major source of income for them. So Vietnamese coffee is really quite good. And I remember, I think you brought back these ready-made 3-in-1 Vietnamese coffees as well, which all you had to do was add hot water and you had a great cup in your hand. So that works, I think, as a superb souvenir. But even other than that, even the iced coffees are amazing. It's like condensed milk. And I think from what you say, Janvi, the egg coffee would be a perfect dessert, I guess, more like a meringue or like a custard or something. But yeah, so that's coffee. What else is uniquely Vietnamese?
Well, if you talk about desserts, believe me, Vietnamese can really surprise you on their food list. So if you've traveled to Singapore, you know Singapore has its Singapore sling, which is the cocktail. Now, a noodle soup called the pho is the street food of Vietnam. Imagine walking into the bar and being presented with a cocktail which is made infused with the pho flavor. It might make you messy head, but believe me, it was one of the best concoctions that I've probably had. So sometimes something strange can also be surprising, which was a nice experience in itself. And I always have this tendency, maybe because we develop products and we want to experience things, even if you don't like it, just for the curiosity
try it. Yes.
What would it be? So that is something that is, I think, is a good way to go with your traveling destinations. Another thing which I really think Indians would like, and it makes for a very good souvenir, is picking up the local traditional. Instead of picking up, you can actually get it tailored and customized and stitched for your own measurements. So the áo dai is the traditional dress of the Vietnamese, and it looks exactly like our kurtas, with a longer length and a long slit. So it's a silk tunic with pants, and that is something amazing and very fashionable. And if you have a couple of days in Hanoi, and if you have more days, and if you're in Hoi An, you can get the original one. But even in Hanoi, you can pick it off the shelf or pick your own fabrics and get it done in 2 days. So this is something that we'll come back to India and wear here as well. So that makes for a very nice souvenir to pick up from there, which is only made there and goes well with the Indian vibe as well. So that was something nice to do and pick up.
Yeah, and I mean, I can only imagine how the street food scene is, because there's just so much to eat and so much to do. Like you mentioned, the pho, the banh mi, you can go on and on with the street food out there. And yes, if you're a little more experimentative, then you can get a lot out of it and really have fun out there in Vietnam. And either in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, I think both are equally really good. You mentioned a lot about shopping also, and yes, getting something custom, tailored is the perfect thing, because then you don't have problems about, will it fit me, does it fit me, how is it. And I think, yes, for a girlfriend's getaway, what else do you want? You want great food, you want shopping, you want unique experiences like this, and really to have a lot of fun. I think one more unique experience, Janvi, is probably the Kuchi tunnels in Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, where you can actually crawl through the tunnels, right?
Yes. So, like we know, Vietnam has had the war history, and luckily it's all over now. But the remnants of
Mm,
war still persist, and now
mm,
are being experienced by tourists. So, in Ho Chi Minh, a little on the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh, is the Hu Chi tunnels, which were the tunnels dug during the war, where the Vietnamese army would actually crawl under and hide and protect themselves during the American invasion. So that is still open, and you can actually go in and really experience that yourself as to what it must have been for the soldiers. Another interesting thing is the war left back a lot of ammunition. So they have Kalashnikovs, AK-47s.
mm. Yeah.
If you really have the guts, or you really want to try that, for a fee, you can try shooting one of them as well. So
Oh
that is
my God. And
probably
please be
not the
careful if
right.
you're planning to
Yeah.
do that. I don't think we want to talk of war right now, but yes, there are so many amazing things to be doing in the world right now, that we really can't wait to go out there
Yes.
and try all of that. It's been great to discuss Vietnam with you, Janvi, and I'm going to wrap this up with a last question, because and the most important for me is, how and where do I stay? What kinds of accommodation are there? Because I think for me it's really important to stay someplace which reminds me that of where I am in the world. I think we are becoming global at such a fast pace, and most of the hotels now are so generic that you could be staying in the same kind of hotel anywhere in the world. And when I look at Vietnam, one of the hotels that has always excited me has been the Intercontinental there in Da Nang, because the pods there, the restaurant, the seating pods for the restaurant, they resemble the rice hats, the hats used by the farmers when they're working in the paddy fields. And it's in the inverted rice hat shape, and it just overlooks the bay, and it's just so pretty that I just can't wait to get there. But you mentioned earlier that you had some reservations about going to Vietnam in the first place. Of course, you decided and everything's gone, and you came back so happy, and you're still raving about it. But did you feel that Vietnam kind of does not have the glitz and the glamour? Say, if we compare, of course, we cannot compare, but if you talk of Dubai, it has all these fancy hotels which are really luxurious. So, if I'm a luxury traveler looking at Vietnam, will I still get some amount of luxury out there?
So even when we were researching for a holiday, we were a little worried, because most of the things that showed up were budget friendly hotels, backpacker hostels, and that was not really what we wanted. So
You want some pampering out there,
yes, we
don't you?
wanted
Yeah.
some pampering. And luckily, Vietnam has a fair share of very good luxury brands as well.
Yeah.
So if you see, Hanoi has got good hotels, but if you really want nice, luxurious hotels set up in a French ambience, then Ho Chi Minh is the
Hmm.
city. Then the luxury cruises on the Halong Bay. So there, from the party cruise right up to cruises with sailboats on them, is something that they offer. You have the six senses in Vietnam as well as Da Nang has a few luxury properties, because it's close to the beach resort and the beach town. So it has a good variety of hotels which will
Hmm.
suit everybody, right from somebody who wants to be in a city center to somebody who wants a nice, luxurious getaway. And I would always recommend doing that when you are in maybe Hanoi. Stay in the old quarter, which is walking distance from everywhere, where you can get a good hotel where you're on the cruise. If you want a party cruise, you could choose that, or you could cruise really like a nice 4-star, 5-star cruise. And when you want an offbeat experience, and if you're choosing Da Nang or Ho Chi Minh City For those 2 nights, 3 nights, go for something really luxurious. And believe me, luxury in Vietnam is pretty much affordable to the Indian conversion as compared to other cities. So you'll really find value for money when you book luxury in Vietnam as well.
So, Janvi, we are about to close the podcast for today. But before we go, one of the most important things that we think about as women and as friends traveling together is safety. So, my question is, did you really find it safe in Vietnam? And how did you go about doing your bookings?
So Vietnam is a relatively safe country in itself. You could be going out with friends, shopping, walking the streets late at night. There's not much of a trouble, but being a very vigilant traveler, you always have to be careful when you're traveling. But having said that, I realize the way a country works might not always be easy to just book off a hotel over the internet. So when I was looking at all of this, and I really wanted it to be a stress-free holiday, I didn't want to be calling somebody to do my check-in, checkouts. I wanted somebody to give me an insider tip as to what you should do, this, what should be done. And for all that reason, there was no other, there was no way out. I knew I had to book it with Veena World because I knew we have very good local partners who would go out of their way, call you when you're on your holiday, make sure you're getting the best guides and services. So hands down, booking something off directly off the internet was not even an option over here. And believe me, that was the best decision ever. I had like a stress-free holiday and it was just good.
That's great. Thank you so much. And, talking about Vietnam, that is one place I still have to visit. So it is on my bucket list and I will get there very soon. And I think I will contact you surely, Janvi, for booking my holiday as well. So viewers, that was Vietnam. And I really look forward to seeing all of you again next week with another episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. Till then, keep listening. Thank you and bye-bye.